Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. I hope you all had a truly fabulous April Fool's Day yesterday. I must confess, I did think very carefully about doing a StarCraft cast, throwing up there, saying I'd switched and seeing what would happen and see what you'd all do. If I'm honest, the only real reason I didn't do it was because I just didn't have the time to. But also there was a part of me that worried I'd suddenly use 500 or 1,000 subs as you all went, oh my god! Gyle's doing StarCraft, that's it, I've had enough, pass me the razor blades, end it all now. So I had your safety in mind, you see, I'm very generous like that. But whoever placed that idea in the comment section of a previous cast, I loved it. And I did think very carefully about it. Who knows, maybe I'll do it next year if we have time. That might be fun, see if you're all paying attention today. Anyway, today it's going to be a custom 5v5. A few bits of tourney action first of all though, or tourney news. As usual, the next installment of King and Prince of Map goes down this weekend. Not at the usual 8 PM, this time it's going to be 6 PM GMT +1. And that installment is going to be on Badlands, so you know what to do if you fancy yourself a Badlands aficionado. Why not sign up in the tourney tab on FAF and compete for those all-important avatars. And also, still, the 2v2 Pro V Chode tourney has not concluded yet. I desperately want to bring you some more coverage of that. Love the last one we did. So as and when that happens, and if we can get the replays, I will bring you some more of that. So it's going to be a custom 5v5 today. We had an average Joe's 4v4 on Canis the other day, so I thought we'd step it up a notch and go pro 5v5 today. It's going to go down on Canis 5v5 Special Edition with a fixed hydro. It's very important information. Let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. So we know what we're dealing with here. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top. There's Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 right up here at the back. In a baby pink, he's chosen UEF. Sensible decision. It's Mr. Mackie opening first land. And to his right down here, it's Artifacts. In a baby blue, he's going Seraphim opening first land. Up here, team member number 3 for Team 1. It's cricothyroidium. Now, I don't know what the eum means, but I'm pretty sure cricothyroid is like something to do with the muscle that helps you talk, helps move the larynx or something like that. There you go. Little bit of completely useless information there from Gylcast. You learn something new every day. Won't help you in life at all unless you're studying for the medical sciences, in which case I would hope you know a lot more than me. Anyway, there he is. He's going Aeon, sensible decision. In mellow yellow, not so sensible. And opening first land. Next up down here, team member number 4 for Team 1, it's Seventh Wonder. He's going Seraphim in Cyanide Scion, opening first land. Almost looks like Luzon there, but never mind. And up here at the top right, we have none other than Blackheart. He's made a couple of questionable decisions here, going Cybrin and Fecal Brown. But still, he's in control of his own mind, just about. Blackheart, he's a man who knows what he's doing. Anyway, there he is, opening first land, going second air. So that's Team 1. Let's take a look at Team 2 down here at the bottom, going Cybrin in Spetsnaz green, which is actually pretty appropriate because I'm pretty sure that this Buildmore Monkey Lords is Soviet Pride. I think we checked that out in the previous cast, so I probably should have looked beforehand. Someone correct me if it's not. Anyway, he's going first and second lands. Team member number 2 up here in Regal Purple. It's Ember 711, and he's going Seraphim, opening first and second land. Team member number 3, rearguard air position for Team 2. It's Lane Lass, Halib Orange, going Aeon, opening first land, second air. Team member number 4 still in his base. It's Corwin. He's gone Seraphim in Burgundy Red, opening first and second land. And last but not least, going way up west, it's Executioner in Lurid Green, who's also going Cybrin. Ton of Cybrins today. And he's opening first, second land, and going third air. Now, this is going to be absolutely nuts. I don't think I've ever done a 5v5 on Canis, let alone a pro edition where there's just going to be tons of stuff going on all over the place. So if I miss stuff, but just take it as read that I'm going to miss stuff. It's just going to happen. So apologize straight off the bat. Also, apologies, guys. Lots of you waiting for the next unit spotlight. I know the kind of visuals are basically done. The audio was done, but we're redoing it because I'm not happy with it. So hopefully that will be out as well in the next week. I know you guys all enjoyed the Megalith one. We will try and make that more of a regular series. But anyway, we've got a Selen out front here for Corwin, and he's going to be getting good intel on that. NG coming his way. Could this be the first blood of the game? Move command out there from somebody. Selen opens fire. In comes the engineer from Seventh Wonder. And Corwin bottles it, doesn't want to get reclaimed. Of course, only 35 hit points on that combat scout, so it doesn't take too long to get rolled over by an NG reclaim. But in comes another Selen, this time from 7th Wonder, and it does look like Corwin is well and truly spooked by the events. He's going to get in behind 7th Wonder's combat scout and therefore get the better of the exchange. In comes a Mantis as well from Build More Monkey Lords, or Soviet Pride as we shall be referring to him, and that helps him out. But meanwhile, a T1 bomber comes in from Blackheart. Nice bit of harass, kills off an NG, but no sooner does he manage that, in comes an interceptor there from Lanelass and denies any further kills. Another bomber out for Blackheart, this time up here playing a more defensive role, working on that Mantis coming in there from Soviet Pride that does actually manage to get a kill. But he's left only with 6 HP. Won't take much for a reinforcing Mantis from Blackheart there to tidy up. Meanwhile, lovely little push right up the center from Executioner, 2 Mantis and a Mole. Just flat out bullying all of this build capacity now belonging to Artifacts and Cricothyroidium. Very nice work indeed. 1 engineer down, although as he's skirting around too much, he has the opportunity to get a lot of kills here if he plays his cards right. There's virtually nothing in the area with the exception of about a good 10 engineers or so. Meanwhile, up front, Corwin's ACU getting involved in the action. Going to throw down a little bit of build capacity on that Hydro there, and then change his mind and move up. Actually, it got pretty badly damaged in that previous engagement there, but manages to survive. 213 hit points remains after that quick repair job from the ACU. Soviet Pride trying to harass Blackheart's plateau to the east here. Blackheart, though, coming in with his ACU, should be able to keep that mechs alive. 3 quick blasts with his commander's gun keeps it alive. However, there's another Mantis back here working on that T1 mechs in the far corner. Lots of action going off early on in this one. Still, those 2 Mantis and Moles alive. 5 kills on that most northern Mantis, 6 on the other one. Executioner having a field day up here, taking down a mech. So 2 mechs is down, a third to follow, and goodness only knows how many engineers have been caught up in this one. There are still a few over here, I think, that have been brought across onto the river, of course, where the Mantis cannot follow. Looks like Mr. Mackey desperately wants to protect that rear mechs and all of the build capacity that's heading across that way. Will he finish the plasma cannon in time? No, he won't. That is beautiful timing from Executioner, who has... This is like the most successful trio of units in the history of FAF. And now yet more engineers potentially suffering the fate. No, don't head away. You're not going to make it back to base, no matter how much you wanted to. Try and kill more engineers. Well, maybe he will make it back to base. Actually, probably not, because he's now sandwiched between Mr. Mackey's forward base and these units that are finally sent in to put a stop to all of this carnage and engineered genocide that's going on that side of the map. Nice push from Ember 711 that has 1 Zooey and 3 Thams up here, now harassing this forward land factory belonging to Blackheart. Getting that Zooey prioritizing the land factory. In comes a bomber, takes out the lead Tham. Mantis taken down as well, keeping that Zooey alive with a 98 hit points or so, somewhere in that region, and that Zooey's been positioned to try and take down the auto gun, but a second bombing run from Blackheart takes out the rest of the Thams, and an engineer coming in from 7th Wonder finally deals with the Zooey. So the land factory just the land factory will survive. The PD has gone the way of the dodo there, and Blackheart will scoop up that wreck for the mass, he says. Thank you very much. And a collision of units here between 7th Wonder and Ember. A few units of engineers getting caught out in between those Thams. 7th Wonder doesn't want to leave those Thams sitting around there, taking extra Zooey fire unnecessarily. Ember setting up shop north of the river, as is his mirror on the other side. Artifacts. Mr. Mackey in place, already with a T2 HQ land factory, pumping out T2 engineers. get some PD in place, he'll be able to stop Executioner making much headway coming across this plateau here. And equally over on the right hand side, Soviet Pride seems to be setting up shop nicely over there, and he's going for the upgrade on the commander rather than getting a early land factory HQ on that side of things. And now we've got TAC missiles coming across the river here, and are they commander-based TAC missiles? Yes, they are. Commander-based TAC missiles, so incredibly useful on Canis. You can always tell by their flight the commander-based ones fly higher than the silo-based missiles. And 7th Wonder equally worrying about TAC missiles coming in the opposite direction, gets some TMD at the front of his base before moving off and continuing to apply pressure in Ember's direction. And what's he going for here? Is he going straight for the main T2 mexes? There's one right here. It looks like it's on track to kill. Ember on 37 mass per tick, but that is going to change dramatically as that Mex goes pop, takes him down to 31. Corwin getting some TMD. Already some TMD slightly further up. It's a very sensible move indeed, as we've just seen. Some progress being made there by 7th Wonder and that TAC missile launcher. Ember by the forward, who's also got the TAC missile launcher as well. This time he's decided to use it against artifacts. But a clash of units once again between Ember and 7th Wonder. Potentially an opening here if he could move north. T1 Mex radar he could snag belonging to Blackheart. Struggled to get much done against this base though with that ACU in place, and now build capacity working on some PD, although quick run by around the back. I might have spoken too soon. He's got THAMs but no Zuis left, so the damage on the structures is going to be limited. Very unfortunate that PD never got completed at the back there for 7th Wonder. And look at this, Ember strolling out of the river, going to start a T1 PD, but it's too close to the one already in place belonging to 7th Wonder, so he's going to start another one further back, and that will be in range of 7th Wonder's power generator, who's currently putting out about 1k power, targeting THAMs belonging to artifacts at first, and then switching up to the P-Gen. Take a look at things through the eyes of 7th Wonder and see if this bottlenecks him on power, because it's inevitably going to go down. There it goes. And now he is ever so slightly eating into his power reserves, so that's a nice snag there from Ember, who immediately starts construction on a T2 PD. So not only has he got TAC missile launcher on board that ACU, he has T2 engineering suite as well. However, there are a bunch of Zuis back here. He'd love to overcharge those before they manage to take out that recently constructed T2 point defense. I think they're going to. Well, maybe not. Artifacts does have an Ilshiva in the area though. Yep, indeed, there goes the T2 PD. But still, he's managed to inflict some casualties. 7th Wonder trying to secure the area with some PD of his own, and is actually going to lose his forward T2 HQ. There's a whole lot of mass he is now without, so this is beautiful pressure here from Team 2. Ember causing 7th Wonder all kinds of problems. This position is looking more and more precarious as the game goes on. 12 minutes into this one, looking at things in the far west, no major challenge happening from Executioner. In the far east, very much the same situation between Blackheart and Soviet Pride. We do have a Spectre out there for Lane Lass, so he's transitioned to T2 Air and is already using it to harass with gunships. That Spectre won't make it home though, thanks to a banger in the area from Blackheart. That's going to take that down and help clear out the skies on that side of things. Ember still trying to erect some PD on this side of the river, but he's going to find it a tough task to complete now that there's T2 in place belonging to artifacts slightly further up. He is going to have to back on up out of there, and you really do need to keep moving when you're playing a forward position like this, especially when you know that your opponent over here is also rocking T2 mobile missile. But look at that beautiful air detonation, takes out what must have been 6 or 7 inties belonging to Executioner there that were hovering above his teammate Ember, helping to ward off any unwanted air attention from Team 1. And forward T2 mechs, the 7th Wonder going to go down. That's going to drop him back from 41 mass per tick to 31. And that is in the lower order of things on the table. So really the two forward players, not necessarily the two mirrors, Corwin is actually 7th Wonder's mirror, but the two ACUs fannying about in the middle with mobile missile launchers, 7th Wonder and Ember, are the two who are really lagging behind in eco in this one. 27 mass per tick in Ember and 39 for 7th Wonder. That comes down to all of that APM being used up on harassment decisions, and as a result not spending a great deal of time teching up eco. It's always very much a mixed bag, deciding to attack early on in a larger team game and not deciding to eco. I hesitate to say that playing the long game is the more sensible route to take. Quick overcharge helps take down TND there for Ember. 7th Wonder now with some T2 ground support from Mr. Mackey. Has a nice parashield in the area, giving him some shield coverage. That though of course not going to be able to follow him into the water, which it looks like he's deciding to move on now. And T3 lands on the field for Executioner, who's now squaring off against Mr. Mackey on the left-hand side. Don't have any point defense in the area, but he does have quite a lot of T2 on the field, and that coupled with the Lobos and stationary movement from the Loyalist was too much for that unit to tank. Ember now taking T2 point defense fire and also eating quite a bit of fire from Artifacts' ACU itself. Manages to score a hit on Artifacts' ACU, taking him down to 6,500 HP. Needs to be careful here though. Ilshiva's kicking around in the area as well. Ember with just 5,900 on that ACU. Attack missiles being launched by 7-1. They're desperately trying to land the killing blow on Ember's ACU. And a quick torpedo launcher could make things interesting here from 7th Wonder if he can construct one quickly enough. Ember finding it difficult to get out of the river on this side thanks to the point defense up here. Ilshiva's walking around down here. Quick torpedo launcher would make the water very unsafe place to be as well, but Ilshiva's pummeling Ember's ACU now, and a quick tac missile launch from 7th Wonder at close range bags the first kill for Team 1. Corwin says, "What are you doing? We warned you that that was going to be a problem." But alas, never mind. We do have a strap bomber out for Laneless, who, by the looks of things, has managed to do quite a good job. I can only assume these vacant mexes have come from a very nice strap bombing run indeed. 32 kills on that strap bomber. No doubt a bunch of collateral damage from engineers as well. He does have one ASF closing down on him from Cricothyroidium, but strolls over the top of a bouncer, and that will be the end of his pursuit as build capacity moves in from Corwin and Soviet Pride to hoover up what's left of Ember's base. A lot of vacant mexes over here as well. I'm wondering if that was the same bombing run. That could well have been the trajectory that that strap bomber took. There's an awful lot of them on the field now. Laneless well ahead of his mirror here. Cricothyroidium on 88 mass per tick, Laneless on 153. And rocking what seems to be about, well, 6 strap bombers or so, and a considerable amount of ASF coverage as well, whereas just a handful or less from Crico on the other side of the map. So despite losing one of their front men, their team 2, they are well ahead in the air game. Now, can Laneless make it count? Blackheart now looking dangerous as he's pushing forward over in the east. Loyalists up front. This way we've got hoplites coming in slightly further south, and mobile missile launchers stinging Soviet Pride's forward base at range, which to all intents and purposes seems to have been more or less abandoned now. Soviet Pride's ACU way back here. He started work on a Monkey Lord, prioritizing power production for the moment. T3 mobile artillery here. Trebuchet in place. Amazing, you look up close how much that looks like an incoming TAC missile. Trail pretty thick. I think that's going to be the end of that forward position, or maybe I spoke too soon. Wave of Corsairs coming in now from Corwin. How is Crico going to respond? Well, the answer is, for the moment, he's not. And to be honest, you can't really do much about it. As long as Corwin's on the ball, can bring those fighter bombers back at any time, and Laneless will mop up any pursuing ASFs. Crico's thinking about it. Take a look at what Team 1 can actually see. Well, there goes a spy plane over the top, and he'll be well aware of the quantity now of ASFs lurking on that side of the field. Move ping going down on the Monkey Lord at the back. And that will be from Team 1, from that spy plane going over the top there, from Crico spotting that experimental, so they will be aware of it. But Team 1 looking very much more the dominant team at the moment. Player up and now gaining map control as we speak. The Loyalists breaching that shield in the right over in the east, belonging to Soviet Pride, and that T2 Mex was 56% done on its way to T3. That's always painful to see. Down it goes. Nice work from Blackheart. Strap bombers out though for Laneless, trying to pick off Blackheart. The shields bear the brunt of the impact. Crico does a nice job of hoovering up those strap bombers with his ASFs. Laneless will get the better of the air game overall, but he's managed to keep his teammate alive. Blackheart sustains around 6,000-7,000 damage on the ACU. Still good 10k remains on that. Blackheart, I get a feeling, is going to be primary in this one, as he usually is in this kind of game. Always scary when you see one of the top players making the kind of gains they're making on your side of the map. But still, I wonder if this is going to be decisive. Monkey Lord for Soviet Pride goes into the green, 75% now complete and climbing. See if we've got any experimental construction going on this side of the field. Well, not as yet. Seems to be very much more standard unit composition. Percival's being manufactured in the far west by Mr. Mackey, but that's a nasty looking group of units up front for Executioner. Might want to start thinking about bricks now, though. More strat bombers getting work done for Lanelas. Blackheart being very careful not to get caught out, though, in the air game. Bouncers and bangers up front. Now, what are Team 2 thinking about in terms of trying to get back in this game? Another Monkey Lord over here for Executioner. So we've got 2 Monkey Lords now working the flanks of the map, and this one is completed in the nick of time as Blackheart continues his push down the eastern edge of the map. Hoovering up the anti-air to begin with to allow support from his air player. Now, is this going to threaten this position here? It does look like he could be in danger. He's well aware of the impending doom, though. Ravagers now under construction here for Mr. Mackey. Two complete, or one complete so far, a second about to be, and being constructed pretty quickly. Remember, we're running this at normal game speed. I suggest Mackey's got a nice reserve of mass. Yes, it does. A little bit sitting in the tank there. Taking a quick look at the eco game. First glance, it looks like Corwin up front has been ecoing the hardest. 208 mass per tick, 189 for Mackey, 187 for Blackheart, and 199 for Soviet Pride. They seem to be our leaders at present. Not surprising that Soviet Pride and Corwin feature in that, being as they are feeding off the embers of Ember's base. See what I did there? 19 kills on that spider bot so far, but he's going to find it tougher work further back here. Blackheart now producing bricks, has a wall of them sitting up here by the plateau guarding this forward base belonging to Blackheart that's pretty heavily shielded. Hasn't got a lot of PD, and then of course Cyber and PD not great at stopping experimentals or anything really, except maybe T1. Incidentally, if you're interested in seeing how things work out defensively speaking, then Briggo Insanity did a very nice 50-odd minute, not so much tutorial, but info guide into the static defensive structures. I watched a good portion of it, and definitely some interesting info there, so check it out if you haven't done so already. Got bricks up front now for Blackheart, and a ton of loyalists behind as well. 2 trebuchets up front though for Soviet Pride. It's going to keep them on their toes, moving back and forth. To get softened up as that Monkey Lord approaches. They're going to need all of their hit points. Thank you very much. And we have a strategic missile launcher online for Lanelas. So Team 2 going nuclear with their stratagems. strategic missile defense going up front for Soviet Pride. See how much that covered. And another strategic missile defense next to him for Corwin. So get a missile in both of those. That entire central section of base structures should be pretty well defended. I'm wondering if that is based on anything other than the stage of the game. We've got another one up here as well that's already in place for Blackheart. Missile under construction, defensively speaking, of course. I think that's the only one I can see at the moment for Team 1. Negative, there's another one on the way as well for 7th Wonder. So everybody busying themselves with nuke defense now as we pass the 26-minute mark in this one. Taking a quick look at reclaim side of things, I always go to Blackheart first of all, because typically he usually leads the pile if there hasn't been any significant mass dumps on anyone's doorstep. Of course, Corwin and Soviet Pride have been able to consume Ember's old base, but Blackheart's been sitting on 33k pulled in so far on reclaim. Corwin has only eaten 8.5, and Soviet Pride on 15, and they've both had a base to chomp on, but that doesn't mean they got it. Maybe Laneless hoovered it up. No, he's on 9, Executioner on 22, 7th Wonder on 15, Artifacts on 9, Mr. Mackie on 15, and Cricothyroidium on 7. And that just shows you every game, Blackheart consistently, almost every game, in the lead when it comes to reclaim. And that is one of the reasons why he is one of the very top players in the world. So very efficient. Loyalists squaring off against each other, though. Significantly more numbers for Blackheart. Soviet Pride going to lose all but one. He's going to lose a T3 engineer. Not sure why that was making its way up here. Monkey Lord should manage to separate this little band from any reinforcements further up. So he has managed, or would have managed if he carried on to press upwards, to kill those units off. I'm surprised he hasn't decided to do that. And that T3 Mex is gonna fall once again. And we've got some naval construction that's gone down here for 7th Wonder. And it's always interesting to see, especially when you've got a Seraphim player. As far as I'm concerned, their cruisers are the best in the game. They've got phenomenal anti-air capabilities, which you get them in the river in large enough quantities. That really cuts down the ability for air players on this side of the river to operate the center of the map. And of course, you've got that constant barrage of missiles testing the TMD of your opponents. And another experimental in place on this side of things. This time it's an Ethota. I'm wondering if that was donated to him. But with those 3 Ravagers back here and these Percivals, he hasn't as yet decided that he fancies moving on that position. He's quite happy to attack at range. He's got 3 Trebuchets down here, just lobbing artillery in Mackie's direction. And there's also artillery coming in the other direction from Blackheart. This time it's static. T2 Gunthers. Always a fan of my T2 static artillery. Though speed told me off for building it in a game we played not so long ago the other day. I know there are more efficient things in most situations you can build, but nothing breaks a position more effectively than 3 or 4 T2 artillery emplacements. Laneless. And someone to send in the experimentals. Who's he talking to, I wonder? They saw my nuke. How are you doing on your nuke? Well, he's got an awful lot of engineers assisting it. There's still a ways to go, probably about 15-20% still to go on that, but Blackheart looking very dangerous north of the causeway. Very dangerous indeed. Soviet Pride's got his Monkey Lord back here, but he's going to need more than that to deal with the colossal quantity of bricks that are wandering around on their doorstep. Laneless has strap bombers poised, doesn't deploy them though, worried about the horde of ASFs accumulating back here for Kryko. How many has he got? Well, he's got 111. How does that stack up with Laneless's Air Force, who's got 70? So Cricothyroidium massively overtaking
strategic launch detected.
Laneless, who's branched out into nuke development, but we've got another nuke that's been completed for Soviet Pride, and what's he going for is the question. Well, it seems to be heading up here for Blackheart, who does have nuke defense in place, but it's not currently loaded. He's moving his ACU as far as he can away from where he suspects the missile is coming, and that is on that forward place. In it comes. I don't think he's going to make it. If he does, it's going to be incredibly close. It's coming right down on top of that shield gen, and Blackheart gets EMP'd by the blast, but manages to escape most of that incoming damage. However, there is also a wave of strap bombers coming in from Laneless. They are so desperate to take Blackheart out of the equation. He eats a couple. That takes him down to 6,400. But Kryko on the ball with his air defense brings in those ASFs, and those strap bombers from Laneless not getting a second pass. We do have some Corsairs coming in, but they are definitely not going to make it to target. They should get shot down long before they can start the bombing run. Question is though, has that prompted Blackheart to ease off? He was really pressuring on the front doorstep here, and now we're starting to see why Laneless has been a little bit lighter in the air game, because he's been building a GC as well as that nuke. But he flies over the top and engages very much larger quantities of Kryko's air units, but he was trying to buy time there for execution to get those Corsairs in, but almost all of them, in fact all of them, do die before they manage to get in range of Blackheart's ACU. ACU dancing around, deploying the old Canis can here. It's keeping him alive, down to 4,500 hit points. So desperate are they to kill Blackheart. GC in place now for Laneless, but eating tons and tons of brick fire, and despite taking a bunch of them down, will not manage to dislodge this main base. But look at the amount of T3 static anti-air, these Myrmidons dotted all over the place for Blackheart. This is just a horrible place to be if you're an air unit from Team 2. Not only is there a colossal mismatch in air power between these two teams in favor of Kryko, but so much anti-air on the ground, and that is contributed in no small way to the thwarting of that plan from Team 2 to try and snipe Blackheart there. Executioner unlucky not to get any of those Corsairs through, so he's changing tack now and focusing more on the land game, working on a megalith. Question is, what happened to that Ethota that was on this side of things? Only presume it was either donated back over to Corwin or it died somewhere and has been reclaimed. That Monkey Lord's still in place though, and the bombardment of Mr. Mackey's base on the western edge of the map still continuing. There are now two Ethotas in the center and a megalith from Soviet Pride threatening the central river. We've got three Ethotas in play from 7th Wonder, and of course that naval factory still producing cruisers or assorted groups of naval units for Team 1. And it hasn't been a great build-up though. They've been thinned out as quickly as they've been produced, it would seem. And this time it's Mackey's turn to push. And he definitely seems to have more firepower in the area at Ethota. And a horde of Percivals in behind it. Looking very dangerous indeed. And now we're starting to see Restorer spam out from Cricothyroidium as well. Experimentals engage one another in the center. We've got Soviet Pride backtracking with his Megalith. Not great target prioritization though from Team 2. They will, however, score the first killing blow. No doubt in no small way thanks to the Megalith in play. Down goes a second Ethota for 7th Wonder, and the third one's going to be not far behind it. Corwin's second Ethota taking some Ion Storm damage from the demise of his first. Monkey Lord realizes he's not going to run. His best bet is to try and kill off that chicken, but he's not going to manage it. He's hoping, well, maybe if he can manage to destroy it, then those Percivals would have got caught in the storm. And Executioner looking pretty vulnerable on the plateau, however, does have that Megalith completed and inbound. Megalith, pretty good counter to Percy spam. Just knock them off at range. Might as well say goodbye to the plateau. You're not going to be able to save it. It's ACU well back here and out of trouble. Blackheart posturing once again though in the east.
Strategic launch detected.
And another nuke out. This time it's Laneless's nuke. And he has a second one half completed. The question is, where's he going? He's going up here, but 7th Wonder had that nuke defense in place earlier, and it was pinged, and Laneless says in chat, I didn't see that. That nuke unlikely to skirt past it, I think, and indeed it won't. So decent intercept from Team 1. Nice placement
Strategic
there from 7th Wonder. And a third nuke out, this time from Mr. Mackey. Is where is it headed? Well, it's conservative. He knows he's not going to get it in to the main base, so he's going after external mass and grounded air units. And that Megalith actually dies. Surprisingly, no doubt getting caught out there, but doesn't manage
Strategic launch detected.
to land that nuke. Too close to the nuke defense in here. Another nuke, this time from Soviet Pride. This game turning into an absolute nuke fest. Ethota moving in from Corwin, trying to kill off this naval facility and all of the engineers around here. A couple of good ranks of veterancy, and he might be able to stay in this one, but there's so much Restorer damage coming in. He's not going to manage it. However, well-placed nuke in the center. No, that's once again going for Mackey, so identifying the likelihood that there was only going to be one anti-nuke missile loaded there, and he manages to sneak that nuke in, and that takes out a good chunk of Mr. Mackey's base. What has that done to his eco? Well, he's level pegging thanks to donations from his teammates on power. Interestingly though, that naval factory was taken out in that exchange, so Corwin managing to slow up the naval harassment in the center of the map, but we do have T3 artillery working on Team 2's base now, and they're very close to getting one of their own on as well. Laneless helping Corwin's artillery installation. That is just about to hit 13,000 HP of 13,500. Executioner taking a little bit of fire here. It looks like that artillery emplacement is focusing on his power grid. That's a sensible decision, as always. Corsairs in the center need to be a little bit careful for Corwin. Doesn't want to bunch up over the top of that Seraphim cruiser. Thought for a moment Corwin was being crazy, but that's an SCU in the river there. Blackheart now pressuring the east once again. He's been so dangerous all game. 2 megaliths versus 1 megalith and a monkey lord. They've got these sensed on primary, the monkey lord. Bricks certainly decide to do that. Another nuke out. And once again, it's from Laneless. Question is, where is it headed? And we've got a strategic... Sorry, not a strategic bomber, an experimental bomber out for 7th Wonder. That nuke is also not going to be successful at breaking through. You just get the impression that Team 2 are starting to get forced back here. Blackheart consistently making ground on this side of the map. The plateau has been eradicated by Mackie. And take a look at where these guys are. And map control, that's a very much smaller, reduced pocket of territory. Look how dirty that looks in there. So much red. Scary stuff indeed. And now we've got more Ethotas crossing the river. That artillery emplacement for Corwin was completed and begins firing on Team 1's base. Never actually saw the artillery emplacement for Team 1. There it is. That's belonging to artifacts. But in comes the experimental bomber and the Ethotas. Interestingly, standing there for the moment. Sure why they're not advancing. Down goes a power gen for Corwin, T3. Scoring another one of those will cripple most of the shield capacity in there, I believe. Might open the door for a nice bombing run from that experimental bomber that seems to have disappeared. Massive air incursion from Team 1 now, though. Strap bombers coming in from artifacts, restorers coming in from Kryko, ASFs from Kryko and Blackheart, shredding the air defenses from Team 2 as the client struggles to keep up with all of the projectiles. Soviet Pride under pressure in the river, though. Some nice ground fire work from Blackheart kills him off. Caught that just in time, and in comes the experimental bomber, lands a bomb directly in the center of Corwin's base, and my goodness, are things unraveling quickly for Team 2. This is surely game. Corwin's base out of commission, Soviet Pride out of life, and that looked like a Control K to me from Laneless. GG's being thrown out all round. What a comprehensive victory from Team 1. It looked pretty steady and even for much of the game, despite Team 2 losing Ember early on. They held pretty well, but a quick and sudden snowball dramatically ends this one just after the 40-minute mark. Corwin's still alive and producing T3 anti-air, but that's not going to help them in the slightest. Crabs coming in from the right, Thota flanking them, although chilling for the moment. Kryko trying to get a kill on Executioner. Bomb from the experimental bomber will help him. Completes all of the shields. Corwin gets himself under shield coverage, but it will only be a temporary measure. Experimental bomber very much about to die, and the destruction of Executioner kills it off. That was another Control K potentially. Corwin making a run for it out west. not going to be successful at outrunning Anithota. Fires a couple of blasts in, and that will tie this one up at 41 minutes and 10 seconds. What a very entertaining 5v5 that was. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. As usual, more to come from me in the future. But in the meanwhile, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.